If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Calling All Creatures. I am your host, Lori, and tonight I think you guys are going to enjoy this podcast. I am talking with Jane Sharpe, and she is an author, and she has just put out this one's a children's book, called Winston the Cat with a Mech Suit. And we're going to talk about that book, but Jane has quite a variety of different books as well. So we're going to kind of touch on all of them so you guys can get the full view of everything that she's done and see what you might like. So anyway, thank you for being on tonight, Jane. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be here and to be able to talk about all these different topics that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. Like I said, you've got quite a variety of books out there and stuff, so I think that's going to be really neat to let everybody know everything that you have kind of written about, because it's such a vast variety. It's like, that's quite it's really cool. Anyway,
thanks.
Why don't you just go ahead? Let's start out and have you just tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, when you were growing up, did you think that you would end up being an author and writing about these different things?
Oh, I didn't have a plan for my career as a child, but in 5th grade we had a program where we could write a book and publish it, and it was just for the kids that were interested. I don't think everybody did it, and so in 5th, 6th, and 7th grade I published my first 3 books, and the best part was that they were at the library and you could go in and students could check them out and I could look at them on the shelf.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
really
so
cool.
It's exciting to do the big girl version of that as an adult.
I'll bet. Now your books can be in bigger libraries.
Yes, hopefully, yes, or the local bookstore.
Local bookstores.
I mean, Amazon is sort of like the local bookstore nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually, I'm glad that Barnes and Noble is that is still going, but I'm surprised that they're still going with everything you can do online now.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, nothing takes the place of going in and getting a cup of coffee and sitting there and walking around, looking at the spines on the shelf. So.
Yeah, and I always kind of like the smell of a bookstore. I mean.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's just me.
They sell those earrings that are the chemical, the molecular formation or whatever of the book smell.
Oh, really?
There's they identified it by molecules, and then they sell a little like a necklace or earrings of the molecule shape, and you can be super book nerdy in your decor.
That's pretty cool. I didn't even know they had those. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you did your first books when you were basically in kind of grade school. So
Yep.
Then did you continue from there, or did you kind of branch off, do something else in between then and when you actually did start writing? When did you actually?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I got married young. I had my kids young. I was in the Air Force for a little bit, and then I started homeschooling my kids. So I was super busy doing all sorts of other things. But I'm definitely a bibliophile. I think I own over 4,000 books personally. And so books have always been a huge part of, homeschooling and my personal hobbies and stuff. But I didn't do any writing really until it was like it was when it got cold in 2019, right before the new year. So is when I first sat down and I got the idea of, how a themed alphabet goes through the alphabet from A to Z, and the letters all have to rotate around a topic. Mm-hmm. And so in the fall, it was really the winter of 2019, I don't know what happened. I got on this kick and made all these themed lists for the topics that I was interested in. And, I just spent, I think it was like a week just finding every letter because some of the letters are really hard to find good, because you're trying to stay on a theme. You're also trying to be appealing to children. So some word that might obviously fit in the theme would be just, either boring or way over the head of a child, not interesting. And so I made this list. I think I had 6 ABC lists on different themes that I made. And then I just learned Photoshop, and I figured out Amazon and publishing and formatting and all sorts of crazy stuff, and got started. And that's where it all started, making these ABC lists.
Wow. Yeah, that would be, like you said, the some of those individual letters with some of the words and keeping them to that theme. Yeah, that would be quite the challenge.
The theme is really where you're pinned. Well, it's really just because you're trying to be appealing to children, and you're got to work in the theme. So, right. Really it's Q and X, and some of the letters are sort of challenging. Right.
So let's go ahead and we'll talk about your book, Winston, here in just a few minutes. But before we talk about Winston, I'd kind of like to talk about the other books that I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. You have written gun safety books for kids. Yep. What made you kind of decide to write the gun safety books? And if you don't mind, what ages are you kind of gearing those books towards?
Sure. So all of my ABC books, the ABC book itself is sort of geared to, my sister-in-law is reading to her 6-month-old. So he's not fully grasping at that point, what the words are, but he's seeing that pages turn from left to right. He's cuddling with his mom. So my books go from, whenever you start reading to your child, and I think the ABC books would be appropriate up to like maybe 4 or 5, because they're just one picture with one letter, like L or K or whatever, and then one word that starts with that. So they're very simple. There's no like story or plot or anything. So those are for little kids to look over this vocabulary. Then each of my ABC books has an activity book. So that's for an older brother or sister who, probably has the ABC book in their house. And they, my son, when I wrote it, he was 8, and he absolutely is my biggest fan, and he loved it. But the activity book is meant for, anybody from 5 to even 12 to do the activities that build on all the topics that were introduced in the ABC book.
Okay.
So I think between the 2 books, you could go anywhere from 2 to 12. Okay. When they build on each other like that.
Yeah, that's awesome that you have them set up like that. That's cool.
Yeah, in homeschooling, everybody's doing the same thing at different levels. So you're talking maybe to your 8th grader about whatever topic, and your younger kids are sitting there absorbing what they can while they, play with Play-Doh or Legos or whatever while you're teaching the older ones. And then everybody breaks off for their own instruction on that topic, and the little kids do it, on a lighter level, and the older kids do it on a more intense level. So it just was sort of natural for me to make them accessible to the different age groups, because that's how our household has always worked.
Yeah. I had my son, I homeschooled him for a while. I got fed up with the local school, so. It's the thing. Yeah, so he was homeschooled pretty much all of his, I think, junior high school, basically.
Yeah, that's a hard age group. I'm always so proud of a mom or dad that pulls a kid out at that age, because, school can be so hard, and you're starting to think, can I teach at that level? And so I'm always so proud of parents that pull them out at 7th, 8th, and above.
Yeah, yep. So what got you interested or made you want to write your gun safety books that you have out there?
So my kids were getting older. I have 5 kids, And I think at the time in 2019, I've got to do fast math. I think my daughter was 17 or 18. And so everybody else was all the way down to the 5-year-old. And I was like, we need to do a unit study on gun safety, because we've always been, like, my dad has hunted. I have I had, marksman badge in the Air Force. I had been on a competitive shooting team when I was little. And then we're a lot of veterans in our family. So guns have been in my kids' lives, and they've learned the basic rules. But I was like, you know what? We need to learn a little more in depth. We need to go to the range more often so you guys can have some hands-on training. So we were just sort of doing a unit study where I was at the range like once or twice a week for a semester, because I had to bring all 5 of them, and I had to take them one at a time for the range rules and for safety and giving them my full attention. So I was taking them to the range, and so it was just on my mind. And so that was one of the lists I made when I made that first set of ABC lists.
Yeah, and I think it's really awesome that you made gun safety books for kids, because I think it's something that really needs to be out there. Parents really need to invest in these types of books and start educating their kids so that they are more safe, because that's the key to a lot of things is education.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's a safe place to start if you're a little nervous, because I've been around guns my whole life, but it's really serious to teach somebody else, because you really have to have a grasp of it when you have to teach somebody else. And so I was trying to refresh the specifics of some of the things so that I could teach it well. And I think that having a book is a great way to have a focus for your activity. And I don't know, I think that a lot of people are buying guns and exercising that freedom, and then they want to introduce it to their kids, but they're like, I'm going to wait till they're 14 because they'll be mature. But I think you got to learn this vocabulary and these principles way before you actually handle a gun.
Right. And sorry about that. We're a little bit seconds ago, you kind of I don't know, something happened and you kind of squelched out there for just a second or two while you were talking, but it came back in and then you were fine again. So we just missed a tiny little bit of what you said, and I apologize. So I'm not sure what happened on what end, but it's okay. We'll get through this.
Hopefully it wasn't a critical phrase.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. You were just starting to talk about the books and stuff like that. So I'm hoping. Yeah, it didn't, like I said, it wasn't too long. It was just like a couple seconds there. You kind of squelched out.
Okay, good.
And I was going to stop you, but...
But then it came back?
Well, yeah, and it came back in really good, and then you were just continuing to talk, and I was trying not to interrupt you because...
Yeah, no, that's always awkward because you're like, are we both experiencing the same technical difficulties, or is it just my end? Yeah,
right. And like I tell people, when you're dealing with cell phones and like wireless and internet and stuff like that, you just never know. I mean, it's beautiful where I'm at right now, and it's been a gorgeous day. So at least hopefully I'm not having any problems. I mean, knock on wood, because you never know what could happen with the internet somewhere else. So anyway, but so now you're fine again, and we got pretty much everything you were saying on that. So I think, yeah. All right, so let's go ahead. And another one that I thought was really cool that you did was Jane's journals. Oh my God, I looked at those and I thought, what a great idea that is. So
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I did. That's exactly what I thought. That was honest to God. But let's go ahead and have you tell my listeners a little bit more about Jane's journals and who they're for.
Sure, yeah. Jane's journals is for consumable. They're sort of like workbooks, but they're really record-keeping books. So there's 4 of them in the series. One focuses on complex medical care, keeping track of just unbelievable amounts of data points when you're caring for somebody with complex medical needs. The other book is for keeping track of kids' symptoms when they have complex behavioral needs, where you're sort of having to track their environment and things that trigger them and their diet and things. It's just too much data for a person to keep track of for a long period of time. then I realized that some kids, the parents don't know what's happening, and they're just having this huge range of symptoms and behaviors, and they're having trouble finding a diagnosis, and so they're not even in a place where they know what the child is struggling with. So there's one I called Investigating the Cause, and it sort of blends the complex medical care and the complex behavioral needs into one book, so that you can try to see patterns in what your kid is exhibiting, and like track flare-ups and reactions to help your doctor find a diagnosis. Because I mean, it's just an unbelievable amount of data that parents are tracking when their kids are struggling with different things. And then I threw together a detox journal, because I realized a lot of parents are, when you have so many factors, they're trying to reduce the amount of sort of options. So they'll do restrictive diets to detox from different, gluten or dairy or whatever, trying to find the root cause. And so I put together a detox tracker so that they could keep track of that while they're tackling all these other things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought they were really cool, because, I mean, I've had friends that have had kids with some severe special needs and stuff like that. And I know, you see parents with kids like this, and they're carrying around these huge folders and binders and books full of all this information and stuff.
Yeah, and how can you haul that to the doctor's office? And so I got into it. I met this woman. She had just started to homeschool, and she had pulled her son. He had autism out of the school district. And I was standing with her at her kitchen counter, and she had this, so many supplements on the counter. And I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I had a lot of supplements. You have a whole counter full. How do you keep track? And she pulled up this like sheaf of loose leaf, grade school ruled manila paper that she had been keeping notes on. And I was like, how do you even, that seems so just
right,
not haphazard, but like risky, like a loose pile of pages, and then I accompanied my friend to her daughter's doctor appointment, a different friend. Her daughter, she felt like a little bullied, and I came with her to the appointment to sort of be like moral support and backup. And the doctor asked her a question about her daughter's flare-up, and she had to go in her phone and look for a photo of a ballet recital, because she knew that the flare-up happened on the day of the sister's ballet recital. And so she was scrolling through her phone gallery, trying to find a picture from the recital so she could tell the doctor what day her daughter had this symptom. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is agonizingly slow, totally. And I had the other woman in my mind. I was like, how are these women keeping their children alive with all this detail? Because my kids don't have like dietary restrictions and all these things. And I was just in awe of what kind of like data points that they were trying to keep track of. And so that's when the idea came to me. And I interviewed these two women just repeatedly and came up with each of the journals by talking to them about how they cared for their child and what they tracked.
Wow. That's crazy. But
yeah, these women are amazing. It's like my little offering towards these warriors that are living this every day, just to try to make it a little bit easier, because I was just in awe of what these women are tackling every day.
Yeah, I can imagine. My cousin is an MA and works in the doctor's office and stuff like that. So I can just imagine some of the people she's seen come in with, and I mean, and even not even necessarily, I guess, kids. For kids with that, maybe even elderly people that have to.
Absolutely. I actually got a review that was like, don't sell yourself short. These are anybody who is trying to figure out what's going on with their symptoms can use the medical record keeping book, because it's meant to do 30 days. So you write May on the spine, put it on the shelf, and then when you have a doctor's appointment in June, you can grab, April, May, and June, bring them in. You have, 90 days all clearly recorded, ready to go. So somebody did say that it's not just for children, but I guess because I was creating it through these two moms,
right?
That's why I called it that. But yeah, did you say it was your cousin worked there?
Well, my cousin is an MA in a doctor's office. Yes.
Yeah. So I made these postcards so that medical providers can learn about them, or so that medical providers could leave the postcards in their waiting room.
Oh, wow.
So if people, or like if somebody loves it and they want to like evangelize other moms in their mom's group, so I can mail those postcards to anybody that wants to share them. They can just contact me through the website.
Okay, and you know what? And I'll talk to my cousin, and if she wants some, I'll get her address or have her contact you, one of the two, and have you send some, because I'm sure they would probably put some. And so her doctor's office is actually situated on the MSU campus.
Okay.
Over in there.
Yeah, because I just, it's when I met those women, or the one woman, and I interviewed my friend, I was just, it's a big task, and I think, the more people that know about these, the more people that it'll just make everything a little bit easier.
Right. And I'm sorry, let me rephrase, not MSU campus. It's a large hospital network, Sparrow Network. I'm sorry, Sparrow Hospital. That's it's a pretty large hospital network. So I'm sure that she would probably be willing. And she is in mom groups and stuff. At least she used to be. I'm not sure if she still is. So she might be able to put it in there and stuff too and share it out.
Yeah, anybody can email and get those sent out to them. Moms groups, sometimes when your kids get older, you end up getting involved in the school or whatever, and so you sort of fade out of the different mom groups sometimes. Yeah,
and like me, her kids are grown and having kids of their own, so...
Oh, yeah, so then you're probably not in mom's groups.
Yeah, I don't think she's in too many of them anymore, but you never know. I mean, she might be with friends.
Yeah.
But either way, so, yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, I'll talk to her, and if she does, I'll shoot you an email or something with her address and stuff.
Cool.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So, yeah, guys, if you guys are interested, there you go. You just found out. And at the end of the podcast, Jane will give her website info and stuff like that so that you guys will be able to go to that. And, of course, I'll post it on my Facebook page when I post my thank you and everything for you being on. I'll have the link to your website and everything and put in there as well. So, and remind people about the Jane's Journal things in the postcard.
Nice. Thanks.
So, yeah, no problem. I do that for everybody. So let's talk a little bit, too, about your Crunchy Mama ABC and Kitchen Helper ABC books. Just what are those ones?
So I'm on I guess you could call it the crunchy spectrum. They invented a new word called scrunchy. So when you're not quite crunchy, but you're trying your best to do, a low toxic lifestyle, and you do some of the things, but not all of the things. So there's crunchy, over here, and then there's scrunchy, and then there's just sort of like mainstream. So I realized that crunchy moms are using this vocabulary that's totally normal to us, but people on the outside of that, subgroup of people have no idea what these words are. But the kids and the parents and the crunchy families, these are just normal words for them. So I had so many fabulous words for a crunchy alphabet that I made 2 books, 2 ABC books and 2 activity books. One is called Crunchy Mama ABC, and one is called More Crunchy Mama ABC, because I just had so many amazing words. And so they're the 2 of them, just the crunchy lifestyle all the way. And then crunchy moms frequently just have ingredients in their home. They don't buy tons of ready-made, like snack pack kind of things. So having kids in the kitchen and cooking from scratch is just like a part of life in a crunchy family. So I wrote a book called Kitchen Helper ABC, and it's all about, kids being in the kitchen and kitchen words and kitchen tools and just all sorts of stuff for kids who can't get out of the kitchen and love helping in the kitchen. So that's all part of the Crunchy Mama's Healthy Baby collection, because they all just build on each other.
Yep, and like I told you, I got my granddaughter the Kitchen Helper ones, and from my understanding, they were going to be doing some activities and stuff and coloring and learning some new words and stuff in it the other day.
Glad.
So
that's exciting.
Yeah. I think she really likes being in the kitchen. That when I saw those on your website, I was just like, oh, that'd be perfect for her.
There's the 2 for y'all. Yeah. Yep. I feel like there's so many different range of topics that there's probably something that somebody would enjoy on my website.
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
And so on top of all these other awesome books that you've been putting out, you also put out a guide and a workbook to help homeschool families self-publish their own books. So
yes,
that is kind of cool.
Yeah, I got my feet wet with a real chapter book with thousands of words instead of 26 words. So I realized I had put out at that point 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 books, and they just kept getting better and better and more accessible, and I was learning so much. And of course, being in a homeschool community, everything's just like a lesson, right? You just want to teach, at any time. You can't even go on a walk or a field trip before you're pulling people aside and trying to teach them something about whatever they're looking at. So self-publishing for homeschool family just came together from all the things that I had learned and I put it in a way that I could explain it to, kids that were interested, like me when I was in 5th grade. I wanted to write a book. I wasn't really super into illustrating, but there's plenty of kids who art is their thing and not words. So it just takes... you can use it, you can hand it off to a teenager to do themselves. You can teach it as a unit study, or a mom who, like me, had her students getting older and older could just, write the book that she's always been wanting to write. So it's really just for anybody in the homeschool family, start to finish, how to self-publish.
Cool. Yeah, my granddaughter really likes to draw, and when you said that, it really hit me because she likes to draw. I don't know what my daughter said. She's more into drawing, like fashion and clothes and stuff that, maybe. Yeah. But when she talks so quietly, you can't hear a word she's saying.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my gosh, girl, you need to speak up. We go to a restaurant, she's trying to order food, they can't hear her. I can't hear her.
Yeah, and you're right next to her. Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of times artists are very... creative and like not explosive, but just so passionate about whatever they're drawing. But it is hard to talk. I've had to learn, even, coming on a podcast, like I like words, I like reading, I like writing, and these are all very quiet, personal things. So, when she gets, I don't want to be like passionate enough, but when she gets a little older and she wants to start sharing what she's creating, she'll just practice and she'll succeed, because the drive for people to learn about her fashion will become more powerful than her desire to stay quiet in her chair.
Yeah. I think so. I have to talk to my daughter and see if she's still into drawing that kind of stuff, or if she's changed, or if she's still drawing at all right now. I think she is. We bought her for Christmas. It wasn't this last Christmas, but the Christmas before, we had gotten her a bunch of art stuff and everything, so she could do some different stuff. So
yeah.
Anyway, hopefully she still is, because I think it's a nice talent to develop. So
yeah, and there's so many ways to be creative. My kids went through like a drawing phase, and then one of my girls went out and got into like 3D sculpture, and that was totally new for our family. So, and then my other son, he creates whole worlds for D&D and storytelling. So his creativity is channeled differently, so.
That's pretty cool. I've played D&D way back in the day. But and then my daughter and her husband actually play D&D. Now they have some friends that they get together with and play. So
yeah, no, it's a great. The friendships that they make, they can just last so long, because that's such a niche interest. That the people in it absolutely will love it.
Oh yeah, yep. All right. Well, we've touched on all your different variety of books and let everybody know just what all you have out there, because, like I said, there's so many various books that cover so many different topics that it's just amazing, that you covered all those. So,
thanks.
But now let's talk about the book we've actually got you on here to talk about more.
Yes.
Winston the Cat with the Mech Suit.
Yep.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about what the book is about and how you came up with this idea of having a cat using a mech suit?
Absolutely, yes. This book was very exciting and energizing because it has a plot more than any of my, alphabet books has. The art is a completely different style. It's like a watercolor. The colors are just gorgeously saturated. So this book was just so much fun to make. I worked with an artist from Ukraine, and she did just a brilliant job. And we're just now starting it's not really a sequel, but I guess it's in the series or the universe of Winston. Winston is based on my grumpy ginger cat, whose name is actually Jasper. And he's sort of a condescending cat. He loves his family, but he's sort of just like, y'all humans are beneath me a little bit. He's very high and mighty, but he does love his family, and he, likes to pitch in, which I think that, of course, I'm in love with Winston and the whole book, but some people's criticism is that no cat would ever want to help. How cats are aloof and cats are
they would think it
disdainful.
was beneath them.
Yes, and I was like, no, he's in love with his family, and they cut him slack when he's napping, and then he pays them back, and they're like, no cat would do that. And I'm like,
so I can see a dog doing it, but not a cat.
Yes.
Too. Yes.
That's what the people that have questions, they're like, but no cat would ever do that. I'm like, clearly it's science fiction, guys. Like, he's in a suit, he's running a suit. Obviously it's fiction, guys. maybe you could do a book of another one about Winston down the road, and this time he could be like Garfield and be like knocking things, lasagna pans or something off of a stove, right.
Things like that with the mech suit. I don't know.
Yeah, Winston's highest priority is napping, and so he doesn't even get into trouble. He's just unconscious. he wants his sleep time to not be interrupted. So he'll, like, one of the pages, the daughter is supposed to make her bed, right? And she says, I can't make my bed because the cat is sleeping on the bed, like, you can't disturb the cat. And so then later, the girl is doing art, and the cat wakes up, and so he gets in the mech suit, and he makes the bed for her. Mm-hmm. So it's just reciprocal.
Yeah.
So, we didn't have cats in our family until about 10 years ago. We had gotten a dog when we first got married, and then we had like a little suburban farm, and we'd had chickens for a while. I remember my husband was allergic to cats. So it just wasn't even a question. We weren't going to get a cat. But then he had sinus surgery and was no longer allergic to cats.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I guess that's like an occasional side effect of sinus surgery. So so we got a kitten, and then we were like, oh my gosh, how have we not had this our whole life? And we were just completely enraptured. And we got a pregnant cat, and we rehomed most of her kittens, and then, another cat, and this and that, and now we have 5 cats.
Yeah, that's quite a household of cats.
It is quite a household, and they all have different personalities, but I guess that was a long intro to say that in our family, it is a legit excuse if you have a sleeping cat on you. Like, if I say to my kid, like, come empty the dishwasher, and he says, but I have a cat, well, then the dishwasher just waits because you're not going to wake a sleeping cat, And so my husband's like, asking me, to do something, or it's time to go to bed. I'm like, well, I can't get in bed because the cat is sleeping on top of the blanket, and I can't move the blanket because the cat is sleeping. And I can't disturb the cat. So this is like a rule. So I thought it was just so absurd coming to cats late in life. And the whole Winston the Cat in the mech suit just erupted out of all these ridiculous situations that we find ourselves in when we don't want to bother our sleeping pets.
That is funny. We didn't have cats when I was a kid, but then when I was a teenager, maybe my dad might not have liked cats. And then my mom and dad divorced, and then when I was a teenager, we ended up with some cats, and then I had cats a couple different times, but then my ex didn't really care for cats, but we ended up with a cat. She was cool. She would lay out, like you said, sleeping cat, but she would get up if I was in my computer chair at my desk working on the computer. She would lay on the back of my neck around it.
Oh, my goodness.
So then, you're kind of sitting there and you don't want to move because you don't want to wake up the cat.
You're a prisoner. Yes, absolutely. Yes, when you called me, my cat, Darlene, was sleeping on my legs. And I was like, oh, princess, I'm so sorry. And, you have to evict them because, like, occasionally you do have to disturb them. But so Winston is just a silly book about how people rearrange their whole lives so the cat can sleep, and then silly Winston occasionally will get in the mech suit and help out.
That is so funny. And it's so funny that people were just telling you that, no, a cat wouldn't do that. That's funny. It's like, imagination, guys. Let's just imagine.
I'm like, it's a mech suit. Nobody said, hey, there's no such thing as a mech suit that could be run by a cat either. But,
it didn't have anything to do with the cat running the mech suit. It was just the cat would not do it. Even
the
if they had
personality of
one.
a cat it fails to compute, like, why would a cat ever contribute? Yeah. So.
Yeah, that is funny when you think about it. That no one was questioning or saying anything about the cat
Absolutely.
in the mech suit.
Yeah, like on the cover of the book, he's mowing the lawn. Like, guys. So it's just silly.
God darn it. If my cat had a mech suit, I'm telling you right now, the cat wouldn't get in the mech suit and help me.
He would certainly get in the mech suit, but he would just sleep on the chair.
Yeah.
He wouldn't push any buttons.
Exactly. He would, yep.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's great. The
I
things
think it's
people
great.
think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you said there's not, at this point you are coming out with another book, but it's not about Winston, but it's still kind of in the realm for Winston. Do you want to
Correct.
tell us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. I'm so excited. Like, I am madly, passionately in love with Winston and the mech suit story. But I think the next one is going to be, like, at least 10 times better. It's called Ezra the Cat Who Babysat. And it is, so the family in the Winston book, the youngest character in that book is one of the characters in the Ezra book. So we're going to have an Easter egg Winston in the background of Ezra the Cat Who Babysat, and so it's with the same human family, but it's there's really, the people in the story are not. So the story for Ezra the Cat Who Babysat is that the youngest boy in this family, his little cousin, comes over, and the two moms are hanging out and having coffee, and the boys go out to play, and the cat, is watching them. And so on each of the pages in the book, like on the left side is, reality. The boys go out the back door, the cat's playing with, a ladybug on the porch, and the boys, are just watching the cat. On the right page is the children's imagination. So the cat is, pouncing, and they're trekking through the safari, like the not the wilderness. What's the word for
like the jungle?
No, the like the savannah.
Oh, the savannah. Okay.
So it's like grassy and
so he's
and
like a lion.
Yes, and so it's just every page the boys are just doing a normal activity with their pet cat, and they're having a snack, or they're playing on the play set, or they're going to get the mail, or all these just normal little things. But on the right-hand side, you can see what they pretend they're doing in their imagination.
That's
so when they're on the swings, they're on the swings, and the cat is not happy on the swing, but the boys are having fun. And then on the right page, they're in like World War II biplanes, swooping and diving, and having fun, the three of them. So it's just a little adventure about, kids' imaginations and how realistic it is for children inside their minds.
Now, there's not going to be a cat that would do that.
Well, what the best part is that in the reality pictures, the cat is frequently completely oblivious to the boys, or
sure.
he's annoyed with them because they're like impeding on his freedom.
Yeah. They're going to so relate to that side of it. They're going to be like, yeah, that's what the cat would do.
Yes, they'll be like, Jane Sharpe finally got it right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
Yeah, it's and her art is so cute, and the colors are so bright. I just am really excited to work with her again.
Oh, good. So, when is that one supposed to be coming out? Around what time?
I think I'd like to have it out by Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving is really the latest that I would like, but it's dependent on so much. One of my other books that's coming out soon, the artist is in Bangladesh, and he has been so faithful to work with me. He got a real day job and stopped being a full-time artist, and then there was like unrest in his country, and he couldn't get online for a while, and then his father passed away, and he's just been so faithful to work through the whole project with me. So you have goals as an author, but when you're working with an artist, you just really have to be sort of fluid and open-handed about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, was that because I did see that you were going to have 2 new books coming out. Was that the other new book that you're going to be?
Yes, this one is almost completely finished. I'm working with like the formatting of the pages and things to get the files correct. It's another ABC theme that I had written in 2019 about traveling with children, and so
I think that'll be good.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the art style is very different than the others. And it's like expansive and big and like piles of clouds and things. So I'm really excited to get this one done. I have to memorize the name because I had a lot of trouble finding the right title, but I think it's called N is for New Places, an ABC book for families that travel. I think is what it's called. And so it's, it starts out airplane, backpack, and going to grandma and grandpa's and passports and
cool.
All sorts of anything that you might run into when you're traveling. So
right, and good traveling words.
Yeah, you got to stay on theme, man.
Yeah, well, yeah. When you're doing ABC books with a theme, you have to.
Yeah. So that was one that I only have. Yeah, so those two books, the Ezra the Cat Who Babysat and the Going to New Places, N is for New Places, are pretty much like in process. And then I have one alphabet left that probably won't be till next year. And that'll go through it, and that'll be how long it has taken me to go through all my alphabet lists that I made in 2019.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a process.
Well, we'll definitely have to keep our eyes out for Ezra, the cat who babysat, because I think that one's going to be cute.
It's so cute.
And hopefully people will be okay with what the cat does this time.
Oh, my goodness, right? Yeah. And then the activity book for Winston is completely different than all my other activity books because it is pretty much the art. More than half of it is the art from Winston the Cat and the Mech Suit. So the art on page 1 is the art on page 1. And so you can color, you can make you can make Winston a different color cat. Instead of being a ginger cat, he could look like your cat. You could change the Mech Suit to be, pink and yellow or whatever. So
custom, almost like their own little book, Winston book that they got
exactly. Yep. And then there's a paper doll you can make with a bunch of props and then some activity stuff at the end. So
that's kind of cool. I might have to go in there and buy those ones for my granddaughter too. She's very crafty, artsy crafty. She likes doing all that kind of stuff. So
no, I printed it on one-sided paper so you could cut it out and it wouldn't have anything on the back. And I need to make a little video about how to do it because I guess paper dolls aren't this is the Gen X in me coming out that I even considered a paper doll. But I think all that old stuff is coming new again and it's new and fun for a new generation. So.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely will keep them busy for a few minutes, I think, playing with it and figuring it out. And, I remember having paper, I'm old, but I remember having paper dolls when I was young and having to fold the little things over on the shoulders to keep the little
Absolutely, I'm going to make I'm going to have not an artist, but like a digital person make me a little video because, you got to cut out a cereal box and glue your paper doll and make it stiff so then the paper... I mean, he doesn't have paper clothes because he's a cat, but he has props that the Mech Suit can hold and manipulate. And then, because it is 2025, I actually got a 3D printed, file. What do you call it? STL file created so that people with 3D printers can print out their own Winston and their own Mech Suit.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. That would be cute to see. Little 3D.
I am so excited. I can't even tell you. Yes. There's so many skilled people in the world. And it's one thing to see your book come to life and hold it in your hand and have somebody read it. Like when I go to my niece and nephew's houses, I'll see my books thrown on the floor and in a stack. And sometimes my sister-in-law or my brother will be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Your book, it's on the floor." And I'm like, "No, that is the biggest compliment I could have that it's not in a place of honor where nobody touches it, but I want the coloring book colored in. I want the book to be dog-eared and carried around and shoved in the diaper bag. That's the best life for a book."
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've got quite, like I said, a variety of work out there for people to choose from, and Winston, I did enjoy reading the book. It was a cute little book. And like I said, I think my granddaughter will like it, so I'll probably end up getting that for her too. And the new ones coming out sound like they're going to be really good as well. I think, like I said, I'm pretty sure Ezra is going to be a cute little book that
he's great.
If you get it out by no later than Thanksgiving, that'll probably be a good Christmas present.
Yeah, that's my idea in my head. So we'll see how the art works out because it's a big project. Yeah, there's a little teaser on the back of Winston where you can see what Ezra and the cousin look like.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think those would be pretty cool, and I'll keep my eye out for those to come out, like I said, because that would be a good idea for my granddaughter for Christmas as well. So
Yeah, they're a great set. I think I'm discussing with my husband about taking a picture of, Winston's based on Jasper, and he's quite condescending and grumpy, and so he looks just like Jasper. I was like, what we should do is take a picture of him looking regal, and then make him make footprints on it, and then we could send autographed copies of Winston headshots to people.
There you go.
I thought that would be so much fun, because we have a picture of him yawning, and he looks like he's roaring. But, I don't know if everybody wants to see all my cat pictures, but,
that's funny.
You think that if he's become Winston, maybe he'll deign to let his photo be taken.
He may. You just never know. But then again, he may not want to do that.
He absolutely may not, and he may not want to do the footprints, and so it's really just about pulling out the catnip.
So is the Winston teaser in the Ezra book, is it really easy to find, or is it going to be kind of a little bit of a challenge?
I think it's just going to be, when the boys are inside playing or something, he's just going to be curled up sleeping in something. So he'll just be clearly portrayed he's not going to be hidden. He's just not going to be part of the story.
Okay. I see.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because if you had him hidden or something somewhere, maybe you could do a little contest for people to try to find Winston.
Right? That's what Richard Scarry, he always had Goldbug hidden in the pictures on the other pages, and you had to find Goldbug on every page.
Yep. And then you could do your little, if they find him, then you could send them the autographed picture.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yep.
Contest time.
Yes. Sounds great.
Hey, you just I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, no, that is a kind of like modern scavenger hunt kind of thing.
They got that app out there you can get for your phone trying to find the cats and stuff. You got to find like 100 cats or something like that.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. They have different ones, but one of them is the cats. So
that's funny.
Yeah, I've seen that advertised. But we're getting pretty close to the end of the podcast, Jane. I'm got to tell you, I was really glad that you were able to come on and talk about all your books and Winston and the new upcoming ones. And if you would be kind enough to give us your website information where listeners can and where people can find your books. I'm sure it's not just on your website. I'm sure Amazon and stuff. But if you want to throw all that info out there so listeners can go to your website and take a look, or maybe go purchase a book or two, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate
it's just my name.com. So it's Jane Sharpe, Sharpe with an E.com. And there's information on all the books. You can see inside of the Jane's journals and see if the fields that you want to fill out would be applying to your situation. You can see inside the gun safety activity book and what kinds of images and activities are in there. There's a couple of interviews and couple of free PDFs you can download. So there's a ton of great things. JaneSharpe.com.
Awesome. And like I said, obviously you can find your books and stuff on Amazon. So people can
all through
order
the
them
website.
Yep.
Yeah, they just, when you click on them, they'll take you to Amazon. So all of them are there. I think Amazon, if you look up my name on Amazon, it'll link you to everything. Yep. That Amazon sells. So they all link together back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, that's awesome. Like I said, I'm excited to get the new Ezra babysitting book. I think that will be really a cute one as well. And like I said, I think I'm definitely going to be getting the ones for my granddaughter for Winston and the activity book, because I know she'd really like the activity book. So
yeah, it's got a lot of coloring. The other ones have a lot of activities, but Winston has got a lot of coloring.
Yep, exactly. So.
Well, I appreciate you getting a copy for your family, and I appreciate being on here and talking not just about Winston, but with the other things too. It's been great.
Oh yeah, I've enjoyed having you on and talking about all these books, because like I said, I was really taken with the fact that you did a gun safety book and then you did those Jane's journals. I just thought those were both just such great ideas. So
yeah, I'm so proud of everything I've done. I'm really pleased with how they've all turned out. It's like, instead of having 5 kids, I have all these paper kids also, little projects that I've worked on and come to life.
There you go. There you go. It's always good when things come together like that. So
Yes, it's great.
all right. Well, I'm just going to announce my next upcoming podcast, so you're welcome to stay on if you want, but I know it's probably getting a little late for you, so if you'd like to jump off, you're welcome to do that as well.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the time you've given me.
All right. Well, thanks for being on. Again, I appreciate you being able to join me tonight.
Alrighty. All right, I'm going to head out. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Jane, and we'll talk to you later.
Alrighty, bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. So Jane just got off. So let me just real quick tell you about my next upcoming podcasts. So on April 3rd, we are going to be talking with Zachary Liu, and we're going to be talking about ants. The podcast is actually called Ants, the Kings of Their Hills. So I'll be speaking with Zachary and learning all sorts of really, really cool stuff about ants. You guys just will not believe some of the really cool stuff I was seeing about ants from Zachary, because he does a YouTube channel and stuff as well, and we'll give all that information when he's on the podcast in a couple weeks. So, but anyway, yeah, so ants, going to be really cool. And like I said, you guys are never going to believe this. There's exploding ants. There's like EMT ants, you name it. They have democracies. It's really cool. And I never knew so many things about ants, but we're going to learn about them on April 3rd. And then on April 17th, I am going to have Scott Fine back on the podcast with me. Maybe you guys remember Scott from a while back. I had him on. He is the founder of Joey's Legacy. So we're going to be doing an update podcast on Joey's Legacy. Joey's Legacy is an organization that is helping people, if they have a pet that goes to the veterinarian and something happens with the veterinarian, and say the dog passes away or something like that, then they help you to try to find a lawyer, stuff like that. And if you need to go to court and those kinds of things, like malpractice suits, just like with a human. That's kind of what Joey's Legacy is helping out with. They help people to find attorneys and stuff like that. You send them information about your case. They review it and make sure that it's a case, that should be addressed. And then they help you find attorneys to help you out and try to get this malpractice stuff taken care of with the veterinarian. I know it's interesting because we think about that kind of stuff with humans, but not many people really think about that stuff when it comes to veterinarians. But, it happens. I mean, things happen just like with humans. You have human doctor malpractice, you have animal doctor malpractice. So anyway, those are the next two podcasts. April 3rd, Ants, the Kings of Their Hills with Zachary Liu. And then April 17th, Joey's Legacy update with Scott Fine. And hopefully you guys will be able to come on back in a couple weeks and listen to that next one with Zach. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. Don't go get into any trouble. Hopefully you guys all had a great St. Patrick's Day as well. And come on back in a couple weeks. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Bye.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.